there's a few studies out there around, for example, um, kind of over empathizing with a parent that doesn't like a certain subject. And we tend to actually to overemphasize with the same sex parent. And we even do this with teachers. So having, a primary school teacher that's uncomfortable with math or doesn't like it, or you get that feeling, can actually have an impact on how you see it. Likewise, sitting down with a parent that says things like, oh, this was always my work subject, and I know it's really hard, honey. It's kind of like trying to get your kid to eat vegetables and kind of pulling a face and going, oh, these vegetables are disgusting, but you have to eat them. So obviously, from a base psychological point of view, we learn vicariously through observing others. And if the message is, I'm doing this, but I really hate doing this, then it kind of becomes normalized. And I think that's a big part of, the problem. I think the other part of the problem is, this notion that, there's almost kind of like this flippant pride of saying, oh yeah, I'm terrible at math. Like we really wouldn't say like, oh, I'm terrible at reading, or I hate reading, not in the same vein. So it's almost, dare I say, it's not necessarily, I don't know if cool is too strong a word, but it's certainly acceptable to kind of say, meh, don't really want to do that. And of course, then we have, from a really base sort of, educational psychology level, the issue of the less invested I'm in something, the less good I become at it, the less good I become at it, then obviously that sort of reinforces, and we get that vicious cycle. I think there was a couple of things. I think one of the things that I was very aware of when Jessie was growing up is how, especially little girls, tend to be validated for things that don't really matter. So, I think we tend to see a little girl and go, aren't you cute, or aren't you pretty? And one of the things when people would say that, I would always say, because she used to do judo at the time, say she's amazing at judo and amazing at math. And I would do this for a couple of reasons. I think the first one was this idea of like, sometimes the most interesting thing about you, Jessie, is the thing that people can't see. But the other thing was also like, I want you to invest in your physicality. I want you to invest in your intelligence. And obviously she loved numbers kind of, early on. And you kind of spot that in your kid, and sort of you reinforce it. And I think it was, interestingly enough, her father and her would kind of bond over, and they would actually argue about how to do little things. So I think they had this cute little relationship there. But for me, the point was also, when things got tough, we were very big on coming out of your comfort zone. I think that's the other thing with education in general. Like, you're not supposed to rock up at school and find everything super easy. Like that's really not not the point. The point is, you rock up, you find things hard until you find a way to figure them out. And again, that reinforcing of, I think, I always say it's sort of action versus outcome. So the reinforcement of the action of trying harder, looking at it differently, getting, support, asking people, versus what grade did you get? And that's, I think, the other thing that we did. So whenever we kind of, rewarded as parents doing well, we'd always reward for studying or for working or for trying a different thing, rather than when she got the grade. Because I think that's the other big thing, right? So sometimes you work really hard and the grade doesn't come right away. And I think when you attach those two, it becomes problematic, the reward for the outcome rather than the action.